When my brother called me at 11:43 p.m., the first thing he said was, "I need you to lie for me." No hello. No build-up. Just that. I was already half asleep on the couch, TV still on, one shoe off, the kind of exhausted that makes you feel insulted by other people's emergencies. My wife, Nina, had gone upstairs an hour earlier because she had an early shift. I almost let the call go to voicemail, but my brother Evan doesn't call late unless something is on fire, bleeding, or expensive. So I picked up. What happened? There was a pause. Then he exhaled into the phone like a man standing at the edge of a cliff. I messed up. That could have meant anything with Evan. He was 36, divorced, charming in the manipulative way some people mistake for confidence, and had spent most of his adult life creating messes that somehow arrived on other people's doorsteps. He'd been the funny one growing up, the one who could talk teachers out of consequences and girlfriends out of boundaries. The family excuse was always the same. Evan had a good heart. Maybe he did. But he also had an incredible talent for making his bad decisions feel like group projects. "What did you do?" I asked. Another pause. Then, quieter. "Melissa thinks I'm at a work retreat." Melissa was his girlfriend of 2 years. Smart, organized, patient far beyond reason. The kind of woman everyone privately hoped would stabilize him. I sat up. "Where are you actually?" "At the Lakeview Inn." I knew the place. It was 40 minutes outside town, technically local enough to be stupid, far enough to feel secret if you weren't thinking hard. People went there for weekend anniversaries, discreet hookups, and occasionally affairs they wanted to romanticize. With who? He said nothing. That silence told me everything. I rubbed my face. "Evan." "She can't find out," he said quickly. "Please. Just this once. If she asks, I'm with you. We're helping your friend move equipment or something. I don't care. Just say I was with you." I should have hung up. I know that now, and I knew it then too. There's a specific moment in every future disaster where the normal person exits. You can feel the moral off-ramp. I felt it. I saw it. And I ignored it because he was my brother and because family loyalty is one of those poisons that tastes virtuous until it starts destroying organs. "Who is she?" I asked. "It doesn't matter. It matters if I'm supposed to lie to your girlfriend. It's not serious. People only say that when it's serious enough to be dangerous." I told him I hated this, that he owed me, that if Melissa ever asked directly I wouldn't elaborate. He agreed too fast. The call ended. I stared at the dark TV screen and told myself I had done a bad but limited thing. A temporary favor. A containment strategy. That's how people recruit themselves into betrayal. Not with evil. With minimization. The next morning Melissa texted me at 8:12. "Hey, sorry to bug you, is Evan with you?" "He's not answering." I looked at the message for a full minute before typing back. "Yeah, he crashed on my couch after we finished late. Phone probably died." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then. Got it. Thanks, smiley face. That smiley face bothered me more than anger would have. For the rest of the day I avoided thinking about it. I worked, answered emails, took the trash out, pretended my life was still arranged in clean moral lines. Nina came home around 6, kissed me on the cheek, and asked what I wanted for dinner. She smelled like that citrus lotion she always used after the hospital because she said otherwise she carried the building home with her. Nina was a respiratory therapist. Practical, steady, good in emergencies. We'd been married 8 years, together for 11. We weren't dramatic people. No screaming fights, no breakups, no suspicious passwords or midnight arguments with screens turned away. If you had asked me then whether I trusted my wife, I'd have answered instantly. Completely. That night, while we were cleaning up after dinner, Nina asked, too casually, "How's Evan?" I didn't think much of it. "Same as always," I said. "Why?" She shrugged. "He texted me some dumb joke earlier. Just checking." It was the sort of nothing question married people ask all the time. Background noise. Thread filler. But later, lying awake, I remembered something odd. Evan never texted Nina directly. Not really. Family group chats, yes. Holiday plans, sure. But random private jokes. Not his style. Not with her. I almost brought it up the next day, then didn't. Marriage survives on the assumption that not every odd thing is a clue. A week passed. Then Melissa showed up at my office. Not dramatic. Not crying. Which somehow made it worse. She stood in the doorway holding a coffee she clearly hadn't touched and asked if we could talk somewhere private. We sat in the break room under fluorescent lights that made everyone look interrogated. "I know he wasn't with you," she said. I didn't answer. She gave a short laugh. "I'm not asking you to confess. I already know." My stomach tightened. "How?" She took out her phone and slid it across the table. It was a screenshot from a hotel confirmation email. Lakeview Inn. 2 guests. 1 room. Evan had accidentally sent it to their shared travel folder instead of deleting it. Amateur mistake. Almost insulting in its laziness. "I'm done with him," she said. "Honestly, that part is easy." Then she looked at me in a way I still think about. "I came here because I think you should know something." Those words are never followed by anything survivable. She tapped the screen again. "I hired someone." I frowned. "A private investigator?" I know how that sounds. No, I thought. I know exactly how that sounds. Apparently, when Evan's behavior started getting strange months earlier, Melissa had suspected he was cheating. She hadn't confronted him because she wanted certainty first. So she hired a pie for 1 week. 1 week was enough, she said. Then she opened another image. At first I didn't understand what I was seeing. A parking lot. Dim lighting. A grainy telephoto angle from a distance. A man and a woman standing beside a dark SUV. The man's back was turned, but I knew Evan's posture instantly, that loose, slightly arrogant slouch, one shoulder lower than the other. The woman was facing him. She had her hair tied back. She wore blue scrubs. Her hand was on his chest. I actually smiled, reflexively, because my brain rejected it so hard it substituted politeness. "That's not, it is," Melissa said softly. I looked closer. My wife. Nina. The photo timestamp was from 2 months earlier. There were 6 more. Them outside a CAF. Them in his car. Them kissing in a pharmacy parking lot. Them entering the Lakeview Inn together 3 nights before he called asking me to lie. My ears started ringing so loudly I could barely hear Melissa speaking. "I'm sorry," she said. "I didn't know if I should tell you." But after you covered for him, she swallowed. "I couldn't walk away knowing you were being made part of it. There are moments in life where your body understands reality before your mind does." My hands went cold. My vision sharpened strangely around the edges, like the room had become a set. Every tiny sound seemed amplified, the vending machine humming, someone laughing faintly down the hall, a spoon hitting a ceramic mug somewhere beyond the door. I said the dumbest possible thing. "How long?" Melissa shook her head. The investigator only followed him for a week. But from the messages I saw long enough. I drove home but have no memory of the drive. Nina was on the back porch when I got there, watering the herb boxes she never actually used but liked having because they made her feel like the sort of woman who cooked with fresh thyme. The evening light hit her face in that familiar way that used to make me feel lucky. She turned when she heard the door. "You're home early." I stood there holding printed photos I had made at a drugstore on the way back because some primitive part of me needed physical evidence. Screens still feel deniable. Paper feels like judgment. "We need to talk." Her expression changed instantly. Not confusion. Not irritation. Fear. That was the first true answer. I laid the photos on the patio table one by one. She looked at the first, then sat down like her knees had given out. For a while neither of us spoke. Finally I said, "How long?" She didn't ask what this was about. Didn't deny it. Didn't buy time. "Almost a year." That answer entered my body like shrapnel. "A year?" She nodded, crying already. "I'm so sorry." Sorry. The decorative word people place over damage after they're done causing it. I asked if it was over. She covered her face. "It was supposed to be." I laughed then, one ugly, involuntary burst. "Was supposed to be?" She started talking too fast, the way guilty people do when they confuse explanation with absolution. It had started after my mother's surgery last year, when family was constantly together, emotions high, schedules chaotic. Nina and Evan were both helping more. Errands. Hospital visits. Picking up groceries. Being there for each other. That phrase came up more than once. Then one night after too much wine at my parents' house, they kissed in the driveway. She said it was a mistake. Then a second mistake. Then something they couldn't stop. I asked if my parents knew. No. My sister? No. Anyone? No. Just the two of them, carrying this thing through birthdays, barbecues, Christmas dinner, my father's retirement party. I thought through every family event from the past year and felt physically ill. Every joke. Every glance I missed. Every moment I had unknowingly stood inside a theater production about my own humiliation. Then I asked the question I think I already knew the answer to. Was that the first time he betrayed me like this? She looked up sharply. And in that look was another answer. Not just yes. Worse. What does that mean? I said. She shook her head. Nothing. Nina. He said, she stopped. What did he say? She cried harder, which told me I was near the Betrayal wound. Finally, in a voice so small I had to lean forward to hear it, she said. He said this isn't the first time he's done something like this. I felt the world tilt. With who? She hesitated. I have never hated anyone the way I hated my brother in the silence before she answered. With Jenna. Jenna was my ex-fiancée. Not just an ex-girlfriend. Not some college fling. Jenna and I had been engaged at 28. We'd ended badly, suddenly, with reasons that never fully made sense to me at the time. She became distant, then cruel, then gone. I spent years thinking I had failed in ways no one could properly explain. I stared at Nina. You're lying. I wish I was. How do you know that? Because he told me when we were fighting once. He said she looked sick. He said I should stop acting morally superior because I wasn't the first woman who chose him over you. I actually had to grip the table. There are betrayals that hurt because they end something. Then there are betrayals that rewrite your past. In the span of 10 minutes, my brother had become not just the man sleeping with my wife, but possibly the hidden reason my first engagement imploded. A parasite moving invisibly through the structure of my life, feeding on trust I kept offering because he was family. I left the house before I did something stupid. For 3 hours I drove nowhere, parked nowhere, just moved. Evan called twice. Then texted. She told you, didn't she? Not can we talk? Not I'm sorry. Just that. I replied once. Did you sleep with Jenna too? He took 11 minutes to answer. It was a long time ago. It didn't mean anything. I pulled the car over and laughed until I thought I might throw up. There it was. The philosophy of men like my brother. Nothing means anything, even while it destroys everyone around them. What followed was ugly and uncinematic in the way real collapse usually is. Nina moved in with her sister. I stopped speaking to Evan. My parents begged for context, then begged for peace, then begged me not to lose my brother forever over one terrible mistake, which remains one of the most insane sentences anyone has ever said to me. One mistake. As if duration doesn't count. As if repetition is an accent, not a pattern. As if betrayal gets laundered by family language into something survivable. Melissa never went back to him. Smart woman. Nina tried, for a while, to explain that she loved me and hated herself and had compartmentalized everything so completely that sometimes being with me felt more real than what she was doing behind my back. That may even have been true. But truth without loyalty is just another useless object. The last time I spoke to Evan in person was at our father's birthday dinner 6 months later. I almost didn't go, but I was tired of surrendering rooms. He arrived late, looked thinner, less invincible. For one irrational second I thought maybe guilt had finally reached him. Then he pulled me aside in the hallway and said, "You have to stop punishing everyone." Everyone. That was his word. Not me. Not Nina. Not Melissa. Everyone. As though my refusal to smile over ruins was the actual disruption. I looked at him and realized something freeing. He would never understand what he had done, because understanding would require a self he had spent his whole life avoiding. So I said the only honest thing left. You're not my brother anymore. People imagine lines like that feel dramatic. Mostly they feel late. The family still doesn't know about Jenna. I never told them. Maybe I should have. Maybe one day I will. But there's a certain exhaustion that comes from discovering your history has been edited by someone else's appetite. Sometimes I think the worst part wasn't even Nina. It was that I helped him hide it. The night he called from that hotel, he made me complicit in my own betrayal, and I said yes because I thought blood meant obligation. Now I think blood is just biology. Trust is the real family. And he burned mine to the ground.